Greetings and salutations, Wastelanders and Wanderers. My name is Oskapt, and I want to show you my modifications to the portable fishing camp. But it occurs to me that it's pretty loud here with the thunderstorm, and I wonder if you guys can even hear me. Hang on a second. All right, that's probably better. Well, let me give you a quick tour. So you've probably seen the video going around about how you can make a portable fishing camp and why you want to do it. It's a cute little thing. It's really easy to make. You don't need to have a lot of stuff with which to do it. And it makes for an awesome way to just roll out and get your fish on. But the video was made before the fishing update came out. And so it made some guesses, and now that the fishing update is out, I've made some modifications that I think will make your fishing camp experience a little bit better. Let me reel this guy in here. It's probably gonna be a toothbrush, right? A sunscreen, my favorite fish. So, give you a quick tour. We've got a Tinker's workbench over here, which is what you're gonna need to modify your janky rod into something a little bit less janky. I used the Mr. Fuzzy workstation because it fits very nicely in the corner. I also used a placeholder for the cannery. I don't have the cannery yet, and so I agreed that this makes a really nice, makes it really nice. We can just leave it at that. Other changes that I made are adding the fishing tackle stash box, which it's a shame that you don't get to actually see it, or a picnic basket, because that also looks pretty cool. You'd want to position it something like that, where it's actually facing you if you were sitting in that chair, because that just kind of makes a little bit more sense. And I've deployed 2 of them, because why have 1 when you can have 2 for twice the price? A very important change that I made is to add the fishing cooler cryo freezer. Again, this was not available until the update came out, but if you A, have a freezer in one of your other camps, or B, want to start using a freezer, this is a great little immersive thing to throw down. If you have a freezer in another camp, and you deploy a camp that doesn't have a freezer, all of the food that's in your other freezer will go bad. So don't do that. You at least need to put the same freezer in your little portable fishing camp, or you need to put this super cool freezer, which you can get from the Atomic Shop right now, either in the bundle, which is what I recommend that you get, or as standalone items. Now, if you're gonna get the freezer, you should get the tackle box. Again, it's a shame that neither of them actually open up for you to see what's inside of them because you're in a menu, but it's cool all the same. And of course, the fish trap. Now, I did not deploy the fish trap as part of my blueprinted camp, and I will explain why in just a moment. If you have a camp, or even if you go out to fish regularly and you're too high off the water, well, you've probably experienced that you're like, oh, I can't actually fish. So you have to crouch to fish. And that kind of breaks the whole immersive aspect of it. So I put stairs in, and that's not a big deal. In fact, it's a very little deal, but it really, really helps because now I can just come down a couple of steps and start my fishing. I put stairs on the backside too, which you can't see because of where I have this one deployed, because if you deploy it in a place that's a little bit elevated, having those stairs is also nice. In the original video, he said that you should not deploy stairs and you should not wire up your stuff, and I strongly disagree. Deploy stairs, wire up your stuff, because when you deploy this thing, you don't want to deploy a 98% finished blueprint of something and then have to wire up your stuff and put some stairs down. It's like, because that's just dumb. You want to like deploy the thing and then go fishing. So do that. Where you want to be careful when you're making your blueprint is be sure that every single thing, with the exception of the shelter here, every single thing is on your foundation or directly connected to it. If you, for example, put a table off to the side here, like say this, for example, and then you try to add that to your blueprint, when you go to deploy it, it's gonna have to consider where you can place all of this and where you can place that. And the likelihood of this lining up with that from a placement perspective is much smaller than just a bunch of foundations fitting into the ground. Don't deploy stuff outside. If you're gonna deploy the fishing camp, it's gonna be sparse. So make sure that you have a shelter attached to it within which you have all of the other stuff that you need. Because like if you're out there and you're running around in power armor or something like that, and you need to do some maintenance, sure, you could just go to White Spring, but if you have your fishing camp It would be nice if you could just go down into your shelter and run over to your power armor station and, do the things that you need to do. Otherwise, you end up having to deploy another camp and switching to that or go to White Spring. And the idea is like, these are our homes, so we want to make them useful. I didn't have his super cool grass roof, so I wish that I did, but I did have the pavilion roof, and that is necessary for things that stick out. If you don't have that, you could also just leave this open. And if you don't want to use the solar panel generator, you can also throw down a small radiant fusion generator or something like that. You could put it like on the roof, for example, and that should blueprint nicely. And as far as running your power goes, if you use the scavenged solar panel, run a connector out to the outside and then across to the other side. And that'll make sure that you get some radiant power over here for your lights. In the video, he ran it down to here, and that interferes with your ability to place your ammo box. The last thing that I did, which of course you saw at the beginning of the video, is I put a switch on my weather station. And that makes it possible for me to turn the thing on and off if I decide that I don't want a particular type of weather. So where can we go? I was out at Deathclaw Island right now. Let's try something out here. This place is always hit or miss because you have these pools, but it shows on the map as if like the whole thing is water. Maybe once upon a time it was, but now it definitely is not. You want to make sure that wherever you do decide to put your camp down is a place where you could fish. So you want to make sure that you can get the fish icon, which we can right there. Oh, now we're just going to accidentally fish. So with this, I should be able to drop my camp down. So I'm going to put it all the way forward to make sure that I have enough space. Then I'll go into build mode and I will move that thing somewhere else just to get it out of the way. Here I am probably struggling because of the shelter that's on the side. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oh, there we go. We had it for a second. So I'm actually going to re-blueprint this without the shelter because it's going to make it a lot easier to move. All right, fly around, do a quick check. We've got everything highlighted. So we'll create a blueprint. This is going to be fish camp, and that is without the shelter. Just following my own rules. And I'm just looking for a spot here where I can drop my module that covers a lot of the water, but you don't really need that. You actually just need enough to cover some of the water. I'm gonna put it there, we'll go into build mode, we'll move it out of the way, put it back there again. And now we've got our options. We can redeploy the blueprint itself, which you can see now how much easier it is to put it in there, how much more space I've got, how many more options I've got of where to put it. All right, so it was just the fact that the shelter was a part of it. That was the struggle. So as long as you have the component pieces, you can drop that into place. And then we're just left with putting the shelter somewhere. And I want to put it exactly where I'm standing. And if that's all you have to do when you redeploy, well, that's not so bad. Now we're here, got our stash box. We've got our power station. We've got our stairs, and we can just walk right down and start fishing. Where else can we go? How about down here, Spruce Knob Lake? Here we have some challenge with the overlap of an actual location. So we may not even be able to put a camp here. Don't mind me, everybody. I'm just placing a camp down. Can we even fish here? We can. And this time we'll just deploy it from the blueprint. I mean, you want it to be realistic. So you want it on land somewhat, but then also reaching out far enough into the water. And then we'll throw the shelter down right here. And there we go. We got our little fishing camp. Well, there you have it, kids. My modifications to the fishing outpost to make it a little bit easier to deploy and, in my opinion, a lot more immersive to use. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Oskapt. I am one half of Gamer Aviator. And until next time, I hope you catch a big one.
In the heart of West Virginia, where the shadows creep and sway. Lies a land of rusted dreams where the brave dare not stray. Appalachia, oh, it's a treacherous ride, with dangers untold and no